Well, when I left, I'm back 6 days now, and he was doing well. He was the first patient that we operated on when the ceasefire was breached on the early hours of Tuesday, the 18th of March. He was one of the few patients in the first wave that arrived who had severe injuries. He was very quiet. Sick, injured children who are quiet are always more concerning than children who are crying or screaming, because a quiet child is an unwell child. We did spend the first 20 minutes pronouncing people dead, of which most of them were children. Many of the adult dead were brought straight to the mortuary, especially the men, but a lot of the women and children were brought straight into us. Once we got through that first wave, we were treating him on the same trolley as two other children, so one bed for 3 kids who were all critically injured. And eventually someone had to make a decision that we need to start operating. So I picked him up and ran up 4 flights of stairs to the operating room. I didn't trust the elevators after, because there was bombings going on. I didn't want to get stuck in an elevator with a dying child. He had his abdomen open, he had some bleeding in there, and he had 2, if not 3 siblings also dead.
And we heard you ask, are his parents alive?
Yes.
And I wonder how many times you might have asked that question when you're treating a child in the period of time you were working in that hospital.
Yeah, and most of the time there was at least one parent dead or severely injured. There was a child in the bed next to him who was the second child I operated on, who was also still alive and doing well when I left. And I think she was about the same age. She was about 5 or 6. She had a kidney injury, liver injury, and took her spleen out, and some bowel injury. And that's what shrapnel does. It is very high velocity, sharp metal flying in all directions, and it's thousands of pieces. But we discovered after we woke her up from the ventilator 2 days later, she had a piece of shrapnel in the left side of her brain, so she was completely paralysed down the right side of her body. We had another child who was 1 year old who had some shrapnel injury to the belly, and when that child woke up, he was calling for his mom, but his mom was dead. But I did go to the mortuary next day briefly, and I'd been to the mortuary before. There's 2 rooms in the mortuary that can hold 25 bodies each. They were both full, including bodies on the floor, so that's at least 60, 70 bodies. And then in the floor of the mortuary was lots of other body parts. So it's really hard to count really how many were horrifically killed. Many unrecognisable, so they'll never be claimed. Or even if they are recognisable, often family members are dead as well, and they'll just get put in a mass grave, unmarked. And that's the reality, and children included. But I did notice when things settled down, around about lunchtime, shortly in the afternoon, when I left the operating room, got a drink of water, I walked through the intensive care unit. It's a 20-bed intensive care unit. Every single bed was full. I went back about 7 or 8 in the evening, because that's the time they break their fast, so I went to get something to eat. The intensive care unit was only half full, because they'd all died. And that's the reality when you're dealing with a mass casualty situation.